15 love.
Well, does that answer the question on how is he going to perform? He starts the match with an ace.
What do you expect McDonald to do out here today, Jimmy, to try and take it to Sinner as and when he can?
Yeah, it's interesting because one of the things McDonald does really well is he can take the ball early. And Sinner is a player who normally punishes you. He gets on the front foot. He starts hitting deep to the corners with pace, and eventually you get backed out. McDonald's job is to try to stand there toe-to-toe and eventually find his way to the net.
15-13.
One of the things that Sinner did to really get him to this level was work very hard on his serve. And once his serve became more of a weapon, that's when he became the #1 player in the world.
Yep.
McDonald isn't as explosive as Sinner from the back of the court either, but from the back of the court, he's very good. Moves well, takes it early, he sneaks in, returns well, and he's got a couple break points right off the trot here.
Darren Cahill, of course, who works in tandem with Simone Vagnozzi. He's had to answer a few questions as well this week, hasn't he? He's been giving some interviews to try and clear up exactly how he saw things unfold back in March.
What I was starting to say in a long-winded way was if Mackie McDonald could have gotten a bigger serve, worked on the serve, gotten a serve where he got some free points, all of a sudden you're talking about someone that could get up to that top 20 in the world level.
McDonald's career high, 37. It wasn't that long ago he was in that position. It was actually the end of last year. He found himself right up there. #1 on tour this year in saving break points is Sinner.
Was he just trying to pad those stats with this first game? Got that 1540 right away.
Yeah, break points saved on the season. If we take it on a hard court, Sinner leads the way. 76% of break points saved. Significant number ahead of everyone else. It's an unusually flat forehand, Mackie McDonald, doesn't he, Jimmy? There aren't too many players who have a forehand that is as flat as McDonald's.
No, and he has a very compact backswing as well, which is why he can take it on the rise and redirect it nicely at times. You can see that on this court, they've made these courts medium fast, they say. It is a bit skiddy. And that would play into McDonald's forehand.
Deuce.
Interesting that that forehand to forehand pattern is
Advantage
being won by
McDonald.
McDonald right now. As Sinner's made a couple of errors off his forehand wing. Continuing to try to pad the breakpoint save stat. I'd like to take a look at that forehand inside out that Sinner hit. It was awfully close. As for Sinner, one of the things that he used to struggle with is if he played those Medvedev, Zverev type players that played way behind the baseline, put every ball in, which is how McDonald's playing right now, these points. Because he couldn't open the court. He'd just try to hit power straight through you. And you can't hit a clean winner against those players in that court position. And he has started this match not opening the court yet. He's trying to go with depth and power. And McDonald's doing a great job putting balls back in play. That was a great defensive lob that just found the line and somehow coaxed an error on the overhead. Another break chance. McDonald's fifth.
Perfect start.
First game.
It's on some big stages, and he's had some big wins as well. And of course, he beat Nadal, you might remember, on Rod Laver Arena only a couple of years ago now. Laver was somewhat below par, I think, physically that day, but McDonald's not been afraid to take out some of the bigger names.
Even if you're below par and you're Rafa Nadal, you're still awfully good, and the reputation is enough to scare some players off. So it shows you that McDonald's not afraid to beat a top player when he has the opportunity.
He ended up having 33 wins at tour level last year, which I believe was the best return for him of any single season. So unfortunate that injury has once again struck for him this year.
Especially when it's your first year of being able to play in all the 1000s. He was going to be able to play Miami, Indian Wells, all the clay court 1000s as a main draw player.
A few riches to be made there these days as well, aren't there, financially?
Which is why that was a shame for Mackie. He's doing okay here. Tough draw, but at least 100 grand chest to post.
Yeah.
39.
Yeah, we were discussing earlier on the gulf between the prize money at the majors now and everywhere else, really. I mean, we're actually comparing it with the challenger level, which hasn't changed a whole lot, but of course you do get players ranked around 100, 120 who are playing challengers and trying to get into majors, and it's extraordinary. I mean, the difference in making a semis of a challenger. You're taking home 5,000 to 10,000. Is that a ballpark figure?
Yes, but the beauty of the majors having the kind of money they have now is if you are 100, you're in.
Yep.
And you're at close to 400,000.
So therefore, Jimmy, nowadays in 2024, there is so much more value in being a top 100 player, right? Than
So much.
15 years ago.
So much. And now with that 400,000, you can pay for your travel, for a coach. You can have somewhat of a team around you, even as 100 in the world, where in the past it was top guys could have a team. You were just trying to make it to the next tournament.
Yep.
Game. McDonald leads 2 games to 0. That's it.
Well, quite a surprise start because of just how good Sinner has been this year and how little McDonald has played this year. It seems as though the court is rushing Sinner. He looks as though he's struggling to catch up, which is very strange.
Ended up beating Francis Tiafoe in the final. In Cincinnati, of course, it's Zverev,
Lovely
Rublev,
kick.
among others, en route. Here's the team, staging in the middle there, Lawrence Francophane.
Love 30.
Six unforced errors already.
Started the match with an ace, has hit 1 winner since.
$15.30.
He was relying on a fair bit of defense, but he was able to produce it impressively.
15-14.
He's been doing that beautifully through this first 14 minutes that we've been watching, of putting a lot of balls down the center, not panicking when he gets in trouble, throwing up defensive lobs. And Sinner's missed an overhead. He hasn't put in away an overhead that you just saw, and it's break points again.
$30-14.
Biggest serve by a good bit from Sinner.
Use.
What's the balance of how often you look for the chip return against him, Jimmy? Because we know his +1 shot is huge. So are you looking for the chip? Are you looking to hit through it?
I mean, I would rather hit through it, but I'd also rather put as many back in play as I can. And right now the chip is staying low and skidding, and he's not timing it that well. He just happened to time 3 good first serves in a row, and he needed it because he's getting crushed on second serve points. He's only 2 of 9 when he misses that first serve.
Needed that. Did the world #1. He finds himself behind an early break here.
Might have some.
Hold boy. Hold boy. Can you switch it on?
Time. Take your seats quickly, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Remarkably, there are actually 5 first-round matchups on the men's side between an American and an Italian. And this, of course, being one of those. Been a good couple of years for both those nations in terms of the volume of players that have improved their ranking.
Who's winning that battle? Do you have who's winning that battle yet between Americans and Italians? Italians seem to be the #1 country in the world right now.
If you give me a second, I'll give you the answer.
Yeah, no, I'll give you some time.
Okay.
But if you had told me that one of the Americans that comes out a winner against the Italians is McDonald against Sinner, that would have been a major upset, and we're a long way from that, obviously, but McDonald looking very good to start, and Sinner not looking quite himself.
Yeah. Musetti beat Opelka yesterday. That's your first one.
Another look at the Sinner coaches as serve and volley, and the incredible open stance backhand that Sinner is able to produce. This would be a devastating sequence for Mackenzie McDonald. He had 2-love double break point. Sinner got out of that jam, and now 30-love serving, and Sinner great passing shot, 1 miss for McDonald. All of a sudden a little pressure on McDonald serving. If it's 2-all after these 4 games and he feels as though he should be up 4-love, not easy to combat that mentally when you're going up against #1. beautiful ball striking from both players. It looks as though they were playing Pong in some ways, both standing up pretty close to the baseline and hitting with pace and depth.
30-14.
And a really good look at the McDonald backhand, because he doesn't. He hardly gets underneath the ball, does he? It's so flat. Almost like a Leighton Hewitt backhand used to be. He used to come inside the ball, Hewitt, didn't he?
Quite a few two-handers nowadays that have that shovel feel to them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they control it as well as they do, but they do. They don't make a lot of errors.
And Medvedev springs to mind.
Cam Norrie.
Yes.
So good, Mac. Nice, Mac. Come on, Mac.
Mackie, as we mentioned, slightly more unusual in that he doesn't have a lot of spin on the forehand either, so he's got a flat strike off both wings.
McDonald.
Let's go, dude.
Defense. Well, this guy will ultimately know enough.
Yeah, that's actually a shame, because that was some of the greatest shots I've seen. He hit an approach, and when you have Jannik Sinner with a sitter on, and you're at the net, you're in all sorts of trouble. And somehow he half-volleyed that, then half-volleyed another one behind him, stayed in the point for another couple of shots. Just could never recover.
Get the serve he wanted, did he, to execute that play?
No, and it's a little tougher against Sinner, who's not that far back to return. I love serve and volley nowadays because there's so many players so far behind the baseline that you can get into the net pretty quickly in front of the service line, at least for that first volley, but couldn't manage to get there because Sinner takes the return early and hits the return with pace.
And Sinner, just a couple of minutes ago, was in danger of going down a double break. And he's rescued this situation impressively.
2 games solved for 6.
A reminder, head to usopen.org and catch up on everything US Open. You can also check in on the social channels, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. They're on YouTube as well. And don't forget to hashtag the US Open to be part of that conversation.
Sit quickly, please. Thank you. Take your seats, please, especially behind the players. Thank you.
Well, early on, 7 unforced errors for Sinner. He only had 2 winners at that point. He's now 7 winners, 7 unforced errors. And McDonald finds himself at 2-all rather than at least 3-1 up. He could have been 4-love up. That's mentally not easy for a lower ranked player.
Goodness me, has he done well there, though?
He's played, I mean, we've been out here already almost a half an hour for just 4 games. The level from McDonald has been really good from the start. he handles pace so well because Sinner's hitting the ball as huge as ever. Doesn't seem to phase McDonald. He's got great balance.
His tennis UCLA, of course. Did Mackie many years ago now. Does the flight of the ball, McDonald's ball, impact the opposition, Jimmy? Because when you hit it a bit flatter, obviously, largely, it's coming to the opposition a little lower. Does that make it a bit harder to be aggressive off sometimes?
Well, depending on if you like that lower ball or not. But yes, normally you want a ball right around net height, and you can really drive it if you want. Once it gets lower than the net, you got to lift.
Just actually had a look at his service games won compared to last year on a hard court. Last year on hard, he was at 88% of holds. This year, he's at 93 of holds on this surface.
I'll call in Jannik.
The stat that stands out a little so far in this match, obviously this can change. Sinner's 2 of 10 on second serve points. Here's another second serve. 2 of 11. For the year on hard court, he's right around 60% winning second serve points. So some credit goes to McDonald for he's taking some returns early. He's mixing up his stance on where he's returning from. That one was from further back, but he's giving him different looks and he's coaxing a few errors. And he's gotten himself for the 3rd straight service game of Sinner's break chance. And this one with a second serve.
To take advantage of a good court position, but the execution just wasn't there for him.
No, and you can see how quickly Sinner, even if it had been a good drop shot, Sinner was going to get there. He doesn't back up much, Sinner. He can defend from closer up to the baseline than most players. It's amazing how quickly he gets out of a corner and pushes back.
And that's the case of the very best, isn't it, Jimmy, in this sport? The ability to come out of the corners and get back quickly.
Yeah, that's what's impressed me about McDonald. What we're watching so far is his movement has been next level, really. Again, serve.
Advantage, McDonald.
Develop a serve that's somewhat of a weapon. Look at that good feel when he gets there, too, because he's so balanced. His average first serve today, 108, as opposed to his opponent's 121. That's average. Biggest is only 116 for McDonald.
Mackenzie McDonald is making an early impression.
McDonald lead 3 games to 2 for 6. Time.
One more time. Do you mind picking up that issue over there?
Might be short of wins, but this has been a fine start.
50 now.
California. It's a winner tour level title. The one final, of course, came in DC when he lost to the man that he's playing today. He was a whisker away from winning as well that afternoon.
Some fun points that these two are having, showing off just how great of ball strikers, but also movers that they are. McDonald has been able to play a lot of balls with slice. I wasn't sure he should chip and charge cross court. It makes you want to sprint to cover the down the line. And it allowed Sinner just to hit a little roller across court.
What has allowed this era, Jimmy, to become better movers? I mean, the obvious answer is knowledge, understanding of different areas of strength. But in your day, what?
Well, I think training,
yes,
as well. That's the biggest thing. In my day, we just, let's go play 5 sets today.
Okay.
That's the practice. That's good enough. Maybe go jog a mile, which isn't really conducive to speed.
No. To impress.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch players at this level executing and moving as well as they do. And one of the things I think that happened as well is because of the technology with the strings and the rackets themselves, it's much easier to put the ball in. And because of that, it became who's faster, who's stronger, who's mentally tougher.
Yep.
It became those things because many people can hit the ball pretty well now.
Back in the day, of course.
40-15.
What's a racket head size? What did you play with? What was your racket head size?
I'm not even sure. It was a wood racket. They were all standard 65.
It wasn't 98 inches though, was it?
It was 60 inches probably.
There you go. Well, amazing. And you ended your career with what?
No, with a 98.
Okay. Yeah, so you saw that transition.
I did. I didn't like it, to be honest, because so good for McDonald so far. I mean, he is just hitting with pace, taking it early, hitting it with very little spin, but still controlling it. And
McDonald leads.
this is not what you expected when you saw this match on the docket. You knew that McDonald has given him some trouble in the past, but the level that he's playing at is brilliant so far.
Yeah, when you hit the ball like he does, you got to have good feel, haven't you? You know, a couple of forehands there that were. He's not using acceleration always, is he, off the ground?
No, it almost plays into his strengths that Sinner hits the ball as hard as he does, and it allows McDonald to redirect.
Yep.
And it has more pace than perhaps he normally can produce on his own.
Love 15.
There's another forehand from Sinner where McDonald's, even though he didn't hit the forehand that hard, it was flat. It skidded through the court, and Sinner was late. Jannik Sinner, who's held how many times? 93% of the time this year on hard court. That's what you told me?
Yep.
He's held once so far. And in that game, he was down 15-40.
Yep.
He's in trouble again at love 30. This is remarkable.
He's also played 30 points already on serve in this set.
It's interesting, isn't it, what matchups do. And for whatever reason, it seems as though McDonald likes Sinner's ball. He likes that pace. So he has, even though he hasn't beaten him, he's played him tough when they've played.
For the American here.
And if you're Sinner, what do you do? Recognizing that your opponent likes your pace or your ball. Because this, again, was a brilliant volley from behind the service line. Couldn't have put it any better. I couldn't believe that Sinner nearly got to it. He may have been able to take this around the net post instead of trying to bring it back into the court. That would have been maybe his only chance. Break points number 10 and 11.
There's not a shot that Jannik Sinner goes to all that often. Speaks volumes to where he's at right now. He finds himself down a double break.
McDonald leads 5-2.
But Mackie McDonald hasn't really made much of a mark in terms of going deep so far.
Sinner team does seem to have a similar demeanor to Sinner. They don't show a whole lot of emotion, but they must be churning a bit right now. Down 5-2, double break. First set should be in the bag for McDonald. Coming off the tumultuous news and week for Sinner, and maybe it is affecting him. He's feeling a little extra pressure. Not that yeah, he hasn't played great. He's made 14 unforced errors, so for Sinner, that's quite a bit. But I don't want to take away from McDonald. One of the reasons he has 14 unforced errors is McDonald has made get after get after get, and it's starting to force Sinner to try to go for bigger and bigger shots.
14 up.
This has been about as good a set as he could have wished for in terms of what he's put out here.
He's won McDonald 34 points. Sinner's won 22. In tennis, usually it's pretty close. That's a beating.
Game and first set.
And he wraps up the opening set.
McDonald
43 minutes.
is good.
In this year, that Sinner has lost the opening set in a major match. But Sharko just delivering us that information.
Well, he won both those first set losses. One of them was the Aussie Open final where he lost the first 2 sets to Medvedev. The other one was at Wimbledon, 4th round against Moutet. Turned it around quickly. It was at 2-6. And then 3-2 and 1.
15-0.
There's a guy who's had a good year, Corentin Moutet. A skillful player if ever there was one.
It looked as though Mackenzie McDonald missed the volley. He was there for it. That was some great speed from both players.
15-6.
Off the top of the tape from way back, but Sinner gets to it. Then off the top of the tape, Mackie gets to it. That was just well left by McDonald. Because I think he was there.
Look up towards his team, and I'm sure they've had a substantial role to play, those gentlemen in the corner there, in keeping things stable in what's been a very difficult period coming into the US Open. Of course, a couple of team members, well, they're no more.
30-40.
This guy's been in the sport pretty much his whole life. He's guided plenty of players at the top of the game.
Number ones. He gets them to number 1. Well, his charge is in trouble right now.
Causing Sinner all sorts of trouble here.
First game, second set.
And he's enjoying the pace, as you say, Jimmy. He's enjoying the pace that he is feeding off here.
He's not making unforced errors off it. He's not being rushed, seemingly. He's so balanced. McDonald is just taking the pace that Sinner gives him and redirecting it into the corners. And it's Sinner who looks rushed. It's Sinner who's late. And I keep waiting because you just... as good as Sinner has been this year, you keep thinking, when's he going to be able to turn this around? He's playing 140 in the world, a player who's been out half of the year.
Yep.
Seats quickly, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
It is one-way traffic, and it's one-way traffic for McDonald.
Probably a little premature to be rolling this one out, but it's been 21 years since the top seed lost in the first round of a major.
So you just sealed McDonald's fate.
I mean,
he had a chance until that comment.
Just in the men's side, it was actually, of course, Leighton Hewitt's defeat to Ivo Karlovic back in 2003. The last occasion that occurred.
That was a horrible draw for Leighton Hewitt. Ivo Karlovic, anytime you're 6'10" and can serve out of a tree, you're dangerous.
Was a good draw there, Jimmy?
No, that's what I'm saying. Ivo Karlovic was not a guy you wanted to play.
15-all.
This is a completely different matchup because this isn't an Ivo Karlovic. This is Mackie McDonald doing things better than Sinner.
Yep.
On all levels.
Didn't play for 4 months. Missed the entire spring period. Pretty much from Australia all the way through to Rome, he was absent. McDonald this year. And his quickest serve, should I say, of the day. Just shy of it.
Couple of forehand errors in this game, just starting to creep in for McDonald. He had 6 unforced errors in the entire first 43 minutes.
Advantage McDonald.
Perfectly placed serve out wide with Sinner pretty far behind the baseline to return. Don't know if he needs to be that far back with McDonald's average speed at 108.
Yes.
It's not a particularly pacey ball, but it's taken so early that he's rushing Sinner as a result.
He's taking it early, and it's flat, and it skids on these medium fast courts, which I think are very close to being fast.
Yeah. When you take the ball into play as well, Jimmy. Because these are quick. Doing a very fine job of hanging tough at that point, though, given the pressure he was under.
Yes.
Very few wins here in New York, McDonald. To explain, only 2, in fact, in the main draw. In all the years he's played, he beat Felix Auger-Aliassime in the first round last year.
Then lost to a qualifier.
Yes, and his only other win prior to that was back in 2021 when he beat David Gauff, but only 2 main draw wins here coming into this event.
Advantage McDonald.
Which is a little tough to explain when you see him performing as the way he is right now. The other hard-court major is 8-7. So,
well, that just tells you that he wants it so badly at the U.S. Open.
yeah,
And that extra bit of pressure of his home slam has made him play nervously. What's interesting is the two names that you said that he beat are two players that would have been heavy favorites against him, so it didn't feel maybe quite as much pressure. It's the same situation he's in here. Having said that, up a set and a break, had made only 6 unforced errors in the entire set. He's made 6 in this game. Still is in the game, but it's a break chance for Sinner. Perhaps started thinking about, can I actually win this match? Don't want to get ahead of yourself as a player. That is a full temper tantrum from Sinner, what you just saw. He doesn't normally show too much.
one of the most phlegmatic characters on court that we have in this sport. Just Mackie's girlfriend in the corner there.
Advantage Sinner.
It's in a while now.
Just got a text from Jesse Levine, one of our announce buddies, who said, and it's true, I've been seeing that Mackie McDonald's the only player maybe in the history of the game that puts the ball, second serve ball, in his right pocket. I don't know if that's why he keeps double faulting recently, but everyone else left pocket that's ever played the game, you grab it with your toss hand.
Yeah. Good spot.
Somewhat meaningless, but it is different than anyone else for whatever reason, maybe superstition. How many times do you think a player has held serve against Jannik Sinner in the last couple of years when they've made 7 unforced errors in that game?
Not many.
No.
First time he's looked for the forehand from the backhand corner and not been able to produce from there.
It's all started in this game for McDonald. And it's the forehand wing that he's been missing. Up until this point, it was also the side that he was hitting winners with. He had 7 forehand winners. That's another surprising stat. More forehand winners than Sinner.
Moving isn't it? And again, because of the trajectory of the ball, that pass is tougher, isn't it? It's just a little less margin for error there.
Well, it's low and it's sliding with almost side spin away from you. That's one where maybe Sinner has to go for a double 2-point pass. Little cross-court dipper first. Hope to get a chance for the next one.
Advantage Sinner.
19 points in this game already. Feels like could be a significant one if Sinner's going to plot the path back in. Just a few mistakes that crept in, and Sinner scores a crucial break here.
1 game all, second set.
We will see now if that changes the tenor of this match. As it had been one-way traffic, McDonald was dominating, not just
Take your seats quickly, please.
6-2, one love,
Play
a break,
continues.
and the
Thank
2
you.
games he had lost, you can make an argument he could have won both.
These players are waiting for you. Any seats? Thank you.
New rule this year, they're to be a little more fan-friendly. They're letting the fans in this lower bowl come in after each game. That was an awfully long game, so there were many people waiting.
Yeah.
And up higher, it's free movement. At any point, you can come in.
It's a bit of onus on the ushers to be nice and sharp. These guys have got the memo. He's taking his time here, McDonald. I think Sinner up.
Ready, 15.
Third double fault of this set, and for the match. Didn't have any double faults in that first set.
Full T15.
Free points have been pretty hard to come by on serve, unusually for Sinner to this stage.
Out
A
game,
couple
Sinner.
back to back, and
Sinner
it gets the
leads 2 against
Italian
1.
in front
Second
in this
set,
second
first set,
set, but it's a tough test already.
Time.
Lead in the rally. Okay? Come on.
Love 15.
Almost a little surprising that he's actually looking for the forehand there as much as he.
Well, especially because he's gone on a rash of unforced errors on the forehand wing, and this tells you the story. McDonald, 6 in the entire first set. We've played 3 games, and he has 12. And I don't know why all of a sudden he's over-hitting. He was doing such a good job just maneuvering the ball. He wasn't playing outside of his comfort zone.
We're all good right here.
Go, Mac.
This isn't really a case of Sinner really raising his level. This is McDonald dropping his by 2 or 3 levels.
Much more in keeping, though, with what we saw in the opening half an hour.
Yeah, and it is strange, isn't it, to see Sinner being the one pushed around. That was happening the first set.
Here we go, mate.
Gauff left UCLA just prior to his senior year, did Mackie.
Fifteen 14.
Actually won the NCAA title in singles and doubles, so the pedigree was always there at college. And there's more trouble here. It's tough to defend against that, isn't it? I don't matter who you are.
No, he's
30-14.
I felt as though McDonald didn't have top line power, but he's showing me something today because that was generating all of his own pace. And it came off the racket with some pace. Still a break chance.
Hasn't found the first serve quite as consistently in this set, though. And Sinner saw him coming, he let it go. And the American has been broken again.
Disgusted because he could have made a play for the volley, decided to let it go. Made a poor decision that time. That was one of those. Back when I played, I didn't have that much confidence in my volley, so whenever in doubt, I let it go. That's what that one felt like. I'd rather not hit a volley. Please go out.
What advice do you think Jannik would have been given this week, Jimmy, with everything that's gone on off the court? What would his team have been telling him to try and quieten the noise?
Yeah, that's a hard answer. It's more of stay in your own bubble. Let's keep working on what we're trying to accomplish here, which is on the court, winning another major. All of that stuff is just noise. Don't look at it. Don't think about it.
And how easy is that to do for a player? How aware are players of what's going on, what's being said about them?
I think that's different for every player. Some players revel in it, I'm sure, and want to hear and see and be part of everything. And some players are so focused on what they're trying to accomplish that they maybe don't look.
Because let's be honest, on an average day for a tennis player, there's a lot of downtime, right? You're on court 3 or 4 hours. That's a lot of hours to fill the day.
And you don't want to fill the day with things that are physically taxing. So sitting looking at your phone would be one thing that they probably do spend some time doing.
Yeah. And there certainly have been some fellow professionals who have weighed in and had their opinion. Team Steele is actually just in the background there. Sinner, of course, who loves his tennis.
Let the service. That's it.
Four successive points.
Sinner leads 4 games to 1.
Moving ahead 4-1 in this second set.
Time.
Start to this game.
59.
29-year-old.
This is a strange comment, but it looks as though this match will be determined a little bit by McDonald's forehand. He's taking pretty mighty cuts at them. In the first set, he didn't miss any. He won 6-2. He got up an early break, and then he started a rash of errors. But you can see he's still going for forehands. He's still running around his back, and he's still taking it early.
Yeah, and despite the fact the rankings dropped, if you look at the last couple of weeks, he has had some good wins, as McDonald. He beat Mpeshi Pericard, who's obviously had a good summer. That was in the qualifying in Canada. He beat Nakashima in Atlanta. Of course, Nakashima's had a good season as well.
Great summer.
Yeah. Beat Hijikata in Newport on the grass.
Yeah, McDonald.
Actually lost in the qualifying to Alex Nicholson in Cincinnati, the man who he ended up making the doubles final with. Of course, could have taken the decision to protect the ranking, couldn't he, Mackie? Is it 6 months, Jimmy? You have to be out for 6 months to protect the ranking.
Yes.
So he wasn't too far off. Not for the first time, McDonald orchestrating proceedings out here.
It is mind-boggling in some ways to see how many of these points, as athletic as both these players are, how many of these points that it's been Mackenzie McDonald who has been the better player, has been the more aggressive player, has been one step ahead.
Just going back to that protected ranking scenario, I presume a player has to make that decision pretty quickly, do they? In terms of when you protect it, or...
Well, yes. What would happen in that scenario is if you were ready to go in 5 months, you're probably better off waiting that 6 month, practice a little longer, get your ranking where it's protected, because he was ranked in the top 40 in the world. His protected ranking would get him in everything for a year. And he was out from Australia
to Rome,
so he was close enough that I would have been tempted to do. Take another couple months. But you're forgetting, or I'm forgetting, if he had taken that, he wouldn't have gotten the prize money from Roland Garros and Wimbledon.
It's a good finish. It's amazing today when you look at the serve numbers. We highlighted earlier on just how good Sinner's serve's been over the last 18 months, and yet today he's winning under 50% of points combined on serve. Remarkable. 26 points he's won on serve of 54 played.
That is unbelievable. It's the second serve points where he's 6 of 22, which is incredible. But even his first serve points won is only at 63%. I don't know how this match is going to, as it continues. We've played a lopsided set at 6-2, but it still took 43 minutes. This set through 6 games has taken almost 40 minutes because the games are difficult to come by.
Sinner.
Once again, just a few frailties off the forehand side of Mackie
Sinner
McDonald,
leads 5
and
games to
Sinner
2.
on the
First
cusp
set,
of
first
squaring
set,
us up.
Okay.
Time.
Very good crowd inside Arthur Ashe on day 2. Beautiful afternoon. And Mackenzie McDonald has played a big part in this. As you so rightly said, Jimmy, injury came at the worst possible time for him, didn't it? In terms of his career trajectory.
No question. Coming into the U.S. hardcourt Masters 1000s would have been a good time. His game doesn't seem as suited to clay, certainly. It's where you need a little bit of spin. And the flat ball isn't going to do as much damage. $18 unforced errors in this set for McDonald. 6 in the first set. That's been the difference. It's really, he still has more winners than Sinner. And Sinner's misfiring on quite a few forehands as well. Throughout this match, he hasn't been sharp from that wing. Really good recognition that time from Sinner on this return that his opponent was going to have to hit a slice forehand, but give McDonald credit. He hit it well. It stayed down very low. You see why serve and volley isn't so easy.
Just thinking
these
exactly
days.
the same thing. I mean, that wasn't a bad volley, was it?
It was a good volley into right as deep as could be. No angle you're giving your opponent theoretically, but he found some angle.
Yeah. And of course, it acts as a deterrent, doesn't it? In many ways, you're sort of thinking about going to it again if you sense it's the right time, but you've been burnt.
Well, it's so important if McDonald is going to serve and volley that he hits his spot on the serve. And both times he lost the serve and volley point, it was a wide serve that wasn't all that wide. It was right in the slot for Sinner. So it just puts a little pressure on that. You better be accurate with your first serve.
It was a heavy return, and it was back on
Advantage
McDonald sharply. And the world number one has got a set point. Well, it was an entertaining end to the set. McDonald clung on for all he had. Tough when you're deeper, isn't it, for him? Because he doesn't have the shape on the ball, does he, from there?
It is, but for whatever reason in the first set, he wasn't panicking on that deeper ball. He was trusting his speed to be able to just put the ball back with some depth and wait, knowing that he can run down almost anything.
30 love. Led for service. Game, Sinner. First game, third set.
So an impressive start to this third set for the world number one. His serve hasn't quite been as devastating as it has been throughout the course of the year.
Almost an understatement, because it has been, he's been holding serve 93% of the time this year on hard court. He's been already broken 4 times today.
Yeah, it's been some season on this surface, isn't it? 5 titles, 4 of them on a hard court.
Yeah, quite a few things about Jannik Sinner that doesn't seem Italian. One of them is that most Italians they love the clay. Not that he's not a very good clay court player also, but obviously more devastating the way he produces his shots on a hard court. We've seen that play over and over again from McDonald, where he gets a mid-court forehand, he slides the forehand with side spin into the center backhand, comes in and he gets a pass down the line, and he just angles off the volley. I think Sinner needs to try to flip that one cross court. Modified version of the same thing.
Yeah, and you can see the difference when he gets a bit more width on the serve there, because you talked about him not hitting his spot always. Well, he did there, and he had movement to it as well. So therefore, he is able to create some space because of that. That's some
run and then a nice flick, because somehow with just a flick of the wrist. Take a look at this. Recognized it late, but good sprint forward, and then don't even think he had the right grip.
game all, third set.
Give me your last American male standing over this fortnight, Jimmy.
Ooh.
If you had to right now. There's so many of them. We've discussed it at length, but who do you see as being the one there at the sharp end, potentially?
That's a tough one, but I might give it to Tiafoe. Seems to like it in New York, although he's got a terrible draw, actually, now that I mention that. I'm going to have to look. I need a draw before I can tell you.
I think he plays Shelton potentially in round 3, if my memory's correct.
Who he does not play particularly well against. He lost to him here last year in the quarters, lost to him in the final in Houston. And after that final, in his speech, said, "I hate playing you."
Yeah, that's not keeping your cards close to your chest, is it?
No.
Such a good angle to be able to see McDonald's brand of tennis. I mean, he did not back off for a moment. Keeping the swing short. Takes some timing there.
Well, here's the problem for the Americans that we were talking about that are the favored Americans. Tommy Paul, his round of 16 is theoretically Sinner. Shelton and Tiafoe battle in the 3rd round, and the winner of that gets Djokovic. 4th round, not ideal. Sepp Korda, who's had a nice summer. His round of 16, Alcaraz. They need to redo the draw.
Okay.
So I guess the guy you would say has the best chance is Taylor Fritz. He's got Casper Ruud in the round of 16 and Zverev in the quarters. So due to the draw, I'm picking Fritz.
That was a little ambitious.
Well, and Sinner has shown you that he wants to hit backhand pass down the line. When you come in from this far to the sideline, you have the sense, I better get to the cross court, and made for just a simple little flick.
Game, Sinner.
And the serve starting to fire a little more effectively for Jannik Sinner here, as he's up early stages of this 3rd set.
Packet.
Time.
Gentlemen's come prepared. First time in tournament history that an Italian is the top seed.
Love 15.
Only the third time, in fact, in the history of major championships. Of course, Sinner was top seed at Wimbledon this year. The only other occasion, Nicola Pietrangeli, back in the early 60s. What a superstar he was back then, was Nicola. Was actually in Malaga, was Nicola, at the end of last year to witness the Italians win the Davis Cup. Lovely scenes. He was on the court, handed them the trophy, was part of the ceremony. Nice touch from the Italian Federation to have him there. He's late 80s now. Nicola.
Let's have it.
A little dejection you see from McDonald there. Slowly but surely, it seems as though Sinner is starting to gain control of the points as well. It was McDonald played.
Come on, stay with it. Come on, stay with it.
I was talking and I realized I need to hear what he said. I know something was insane. Whatever it was, is he needs to get out of this triple break point.
It's not going to help his cause.
Sinner leads 3 games to 1.
Sinner seems as though he's beginning to wrestle control of things. A reminder, if you haven't already been to usopen.org, find your way there, because it is has to be in terms of keeping up to date with scores, highlights, all the stats. The draws are there as well, constantly being updated.
Do it, Mac. Come on, believe, man.
Here we go, first point, let's go. First point.
First round will be hopefully completed by this evening.
Left.
There's the danger of running around your backhand to hit a forehand from that part of the court, and you don't do enough. You just leave that line exposed.
Well, I sense you don't think McDonald should be running around very often because you like his backhand.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel, I don't know what you think, but it feels as though McDonald's lost a fraction of pace, doesn't it, as well? I mean, obviously, scoreline contributes towards that as well a little bit. You can see his body language, his shoulders have dropped.
He doesn't believe anymore all of a sudden. And I don't know if there's one thing about 3 out of 5 sets, there can be another turn in momentum. But right now, it is squarely with the #1 seed.
was a case of swing freely with a sense of
Body
abandon.
15.
Let's go, dude. You can do this. Hey,
Come on, come on.
it's 1 at a time. You got this.
Coaches tell him, you got this. Look on his face is, what are you talking about? As this set has completely turned around as far as second set, McDonald lost because he was making unforced errors. This set, he's down a break because his opponents hit 7 winners and made 0 unforced errors. So the level has changed. Sinner has raised his game as McDonald dropped his.
1-0. Time.
There have been 3 men, in fact, that have won the Australian Open and the US Open in the same season. In the Open era, Djokovic, Federer, and Fernando, in fact, was the other back in '88. The world #1 seems to have gained some control in a match in the early stages was not the case.
That has been his best play. If he gets a mid-court in the center of the court forehand and he slides it inside out and comes in.
Yeah, we've seen enough from Mackenzie McDonald over the years, Jimmy, to know that he's at his best, isn't he, when he is up the court.
Yes.
That's very much his go-to play. He likes to dictate from the center of the court, take the ball early. He's not as comfortable deeper. Of course, it's a little tougher when you've got a ball coming at you with that sort of pace and that sort of depth.
But it was coming at him that way in the first set, and he was redirecting it as if it was as easy as could be. And that all suddenly changed when he broke first game of the second. Don't forget, it was 6-2, 1 love a break. It's amazing how one game can be such a difference. 6-2, 1 love a break, and he made 10 unforced errors in that game that lasted about 20 minutes.
Yep.
And as soon as he was broken back, it has been Sinner, and he hasn't looked back to this point.
It's an exceptional pass, but one that he seems to make more often than not.
Sinner
Well,
leads 5
that's the
games to
play
1.
that's been working for McDonald. Sinner's been going down the line with the backhand almost every time. Finally, he went cross court. Maybe that's the first time he got there comfortably enough to be able to get it cross court. But after two, the scores look as though the sets were very easy, the first 2 sets, but they took a long time. 43 minutes, 45 minutes for those 8 games of the first 2 sets. This 6 games taking 23 minutes. One-way traffic, 0 unforced errors in this set from Sinner. 10 winners. If I'm McDonald after this set, I say, time for a bathroom break. See if I can regroup. The level in this match went from the first set was remarkable how well McDonald was playing. The points were fun to watch as he was maneuvering the ball off of difficult shots. And now he's just making routine errors.
In just 7 points, McDonald has won in this 3rd set. This match has got away from him. And Jannik Sinner, having been down a set and a break, finds himself now just 1 set away from round 2. Down 2 sets to 1. And needing something of a lift.
Love 15.
Bathroom break hasn't helped, at least to start. Set number 4 for McDonald. Unforced errors continuing. It's an amazing turnaround. I know that Sinner's improved, but he went from 6 unforced errors to 36 so far. So 30 unforced errors in the last 15 games. 2 a game he's given away.
The evidence of this game looks somewhat forlorn.
And do you feel as though there's something physically wrong? Because he's gotten slower as well. He's moving so well early in this match.
He's definitely laboring out there, wasn't he?
Yeah. It's a completely different looking athlete than what we saw in set 1.
And he hasn't had the intensity of these sorts of matches, is it? Yes, he's won a few matches over the last few weeks, but not against this level of opposition. Whether that's a factor, I don't know, but got to be somewhere in there, you would have thought. 2 hours on the clock.
Yeah, that's the other interesting thing. It looks as though this shouldn't be physically taxing because of the score, but the sets, the games were so tough in those first 2 sets. A lot of long games, and the points, there were very few points won with serve. That was, all the points were hotly contested.
15 left. 30 love.
This crowd must be thinking, what has gone on? The tennis was so exciting for a set and a half or so, until all of a sudden McDonald's broken down.
40 love.
And it looks as though the discipline has gone somewhat, hasn't it, as well? I mean, obviously he plays a brand of tennis where it's important for him to get on the front foot, but he's taking some cuts at the ball now that really don't look on.
Game, Sinner. 1 chance, please. New ball.
And Sinner's first serve is
Sinner
firing
leads 2
nicely.
games to love. 4 set.
They made the changes to the serve just after Roland Garros last spring, wasn't it? He lost early at the French in May last year, had that period of 3 or 4 weeks coming into the grass. That's when they looked at the serve, made those changes. Hasn't really looked back since.
Which is a bit of a risk, isn't it, to take a mid-season technical change for a player?
Yep. Got to have some buy-in, haven't you?
You do.
Love 15.
And trust in the people that are there to build your game. You've got to put your faith in them. Helps, as you say, when you've got a guy who's on the coaching sidelines with an impressive CV.
Well, yeah, number ones galore. So he's telling you it's time to get to number 1. As we keep talking, there is, back in the day, you didn't hear about this very often, but if you don't win a point in the set, it was called a golden set.
Okay.
We're still far away from a golden set, but McDonald hasn't won a point yet in set number 4.
And you remember the last golden set, Jimmy? Come on, this is a tester for you.
I do.
I knew you'd be on it.
I believe it was Bill Scanlon beating Marcos Hocevar.
Well, that wasn't the one that sprung to my mind, I'm not going to lie, but we'll dig a little deeper because Sinner has got a double break here. There was one at Wimbledon, actually.
Yeah,
more recently than that.
Who was that?
It was
Edberg?
Shvedova against Irani.
No way.
Yes. Golden set, 2012, 3rd round. 24 points on the bounce.
Now you got to check on my
Okay.
Hocevar.
We will. We'll get into that.
Time.
Let's go, dude. Let's work.
So Jannik Sinner, having not lost a point so far in this 4th set.
15
I've
love.
just confirmed that Jimmy's knowledge stretches very deep indeed.
Knowledge of useless things. I think I was at that tournament. That's why I remember it back in 1982, was it? Bill Scanlon over Marcos Hocevar.
Yeah, 83.
83?
Yeah. Delray Beach it was.
Mackenzie McDonald had. He just played a beauty of a point. That was a lot of what we saw in set one. Points like that. Physical, great ball striking. That has all left McDonald. Some credit goes to Sinner, but a lot of the problem has been McDonald looks to me as though physically he broke down.
You see Mackie rescuing the ranking. I mean, he's going to be 140 now, Jimmy, going into what will be the Asian swing, of course, where conditions are pretty quick over there.
I think the thing is he has some points to defend still. That's the problem. He's going to have to rescue it next year, most likely. But he's still a better player than 140 in the world. So at some point, if he can stay healthy, he'll get back inside the top 100, you would think.
Yeah, there's certainly be a race for him, won't it, in the next couple of months to get directly into Melbourne. Something we discussed earlier on today. It's so often the case in that last quarter of the season. A lot of players in around that ranking are working hard to get themselves into double figures.
Sinner.
And the draw most definitely could have been kinder.
Sinner leads
USOpen.org. There's also USOpenshop.org, which is the place to get some good merchandise. Plenty of that to be had this year as well. Some lovely range of shirts and jumpers and caps. Under pressure. Able to get the ball nice and low.
15 love.
What is the one bit of merch you want to take in from the US Open? Because Wimbledon's the towel, right? You've got to have a towel at Wimbledon. I feel like that's the go-to in the shop, isn't it?
No, there's no question about that. I mean, I think for the Open, I like the hats.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sam Querrey was actually recounting a lovely story in his podcast the other day about the towels and how he one match, I think he took 10 home or something because it rained so much. They kept bringing 2 new ones out and he had about 6 rain breaks in a match. I think you saw Sam yesterday, you were telling me, didn't you?
I did. Torn Achilles and all. It's healed a bit, but still not moving all that well. Pickleball player now. He's doing a little research on McDonald and what he has to do to get back in the top 100. He's got about 100 points to defend in the fall. So he's going to have to make 250, 300 points, something along those lines in the fall to get himself back to the top 100. That won't be easy.
Second service.
Another problem when your ranking drops is you're not in the tournaments.
Yep.
You often don't get great draws.
15-40.
And there was a serious tipping point in this match, as Jimmy says, at the start of the second.
6-2, 1-love, up a break in the second, McDonald. He had broken Sinner 4 of his 5 service games to that point.
13-40.
And then all of a sudden went on an unforced error string. He made 10 unforced errors in 1 game on serve to give the break back. At that point, Sinner still wasn't playing well.
Yes. Advantage, McDonald.
Now what looked as though for a minute it might be a golden set, not lose a point. All of a sudden, McDonald with a chance to at least get on the board.
Those linear strikes that he can be just so deadly on.
Yes.
His ability to change direction, take control of the rally. Saw it in Australia, of course, consistently. So, yeah, for the most part of the year, in truth.
Advantage, McDonald.
Well, that'll feel good. He avoids a bagel. Sinner, though, a couple of games away from round 2.
By 2 sets to 1.
No player has won more hard-court matches this year than Jannik Sinner, 28 in total, and it would seem counting right now as he moves ever closer to a first win of the week.
50 left. No.
We highlight so often that camera angle being so beneficial, but the one thing it does tell you is how well he sinks into the ground, Sinner, isn't it? From the back, how well he utilizes his legs. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy, and he was a skier, so it almost feels as though he's skiing when you watch him, the way he sits down as he hits, and you especially will see that against someone that hits the ball as low as McDonald does. Problem is just how much slower McDonald has gotten. He was moving so well, it was fun to watch, and now he's just watching regulation shots, rally balls go past him. This was an example. He would have been there in position in the first set.
He's been made to look rather pedestrian. And this sets 3 and 4.
5 games to 1, 4 sets.
A large part due to this man's quality. Good lead Sinner has at the top of the world rankings as well, having just refreshed my memory, a couple of thousand points, and of course of the top 3 he has the fewest of points to defend here in New York. It's more than likely that he will extend his advantage. A good fortnight.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is if Carlos Alcaraz wins the title, he would have won 3 of the 4 majors. Still be 2 in the world.
That's a very good point. It's remembering, of course, the points that Sinner accumulated in Indian Wells have also been erased, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
McDonald.
A very good hold from Mackenzie McDonald, but the clock is ticking on the Californian here on Ash.
Time.
The scrutiny and the spotlight have been on this man over the last week or so.
15 left.
For a while here, it didn't look great.
No, it looked like it shook him a little bit. He started the match with an ace. And then from that point until setting a break down, he looked out of sorts, with a lot of that credit going to McDonald.
Serve has become ever more potent here to lose a point behind his first in this fourth set.
You know he's relaxed when he's hitting drop shot winners. If you remember early in the match, he tried a few drop shots. They weren't looking that pretty, but he knows the outcome now, surely, and triple match point.
Oh.
Body 15.
Jannik Sinner moves through to round 2 in New York from a set and a breakdown against Mackenzie McDonald. But the Italian prevails. He got better and better throughout. 2024, he's through in 4.
Not sure what to think about that first round win for Sinner, because the first set was a real struggle. Got broken 4 times in his first 5 service games. That had to throw him for a little bit of a loop. But in the end,